So as an economist, I think about the radical price inflation in education, and I Googled it beforehand, and I found a credible source that said since 1980, the cost of a four-year university has increased by 1,200%. And that's higher than healthcare inflation, which is also insane. It's higher than housing inflation, which is also insane. And it's way above the rate of inflation in that same period. And as an economist, I'm trying to think, okay, what's driving that? And you've touched on one thing that I think is pretty essential. I heard you recently criticize the idea of free college tuition, and more recently, President Biden has talked about free community college, which is sort of halfway there, I guess. I don't know, but why are you against that? And do you think that drives the cost of education?
There are a couple of reasons I would be against that. The number one reason I would be against free education is that it's not free. It won't ever be free, right? I mean, someone's paying for it. So the question is the students going to be paying for it themselves, or is tax money going to be paying for it? And I have a deep distrust of education paid for by tax money, because that means I don't have enormous confidence in the federal Department of Education to run higher education. To this point, compared to K through 12 education, higher education has been comparatively free of control. There's much less control over higher education than there is just compared to K through 12. There is still a good deal. I mean, the federal DOE still exerts a good deal of pressure on higher education, especially through the accreditation process, because all of the accrediting organizations are themselves overseen by the DOE, and therefore they receive mandates from the DOE, which they then enforce. So there is definitely influence that the federal DOE has. But I just, like, at the end of the day, I fundamentally don't trust politicians and the people appointed by politicians to make the best decisions for education. It does not seem to me a controversial statement to say that that's not the best way to move forward with education. So that's the primary reason why I would not support. I mean, do I think it should be made more available? Yes. But that's why my goal has been, instead of saying, let's try to, develop programs to make it free, I just want to make it affordable. Right. Yeah. I mean, my vision is for higher education that people can afford to, like, work your way through college, get a job, get a part-time job and pay your tuition as you go and emerge debt free. That's how we do things at Signum.